I've been living like an animal for 13 years, so here's why. That I think a lot of people have seen all the stuff like posted about like Asmongold, him like having like his dirty sink and stuff, and like news about like him finding a dead rat where he lives, and like just like all that crazy stuff. So I'm interested into how the reasoning as to why he lives the way he does, because I don't think like he ever says like gives like good reasoning as to like what he like why he acts the way he does. So yeah, let's get into it.
Hey guys, it's me, and today I want to answer a question that a lot of people have been
Brother,
asking
that audio, dude. That audio quality is interesting.
me my whole life, and more importantly, they've been asking me a lot recently, especially online. And that question comes in many forms, but it all is distilled down to the same thing, which is, in one form or another, why are you like this? Whether it's the dead rat alarm clock, the
The dead rat alarm clock. It is actually insane that he really found a dead rat. Ugh. Man, that's kind of disgusting.
barbecue, puke shower curtain, dead animals in the house, or any other one of the stories that are just an indicator of me living like a complete fucking animal. People always wonder, why would a person live like this? Why would a person be like this? Why am I like this? And I think that honestly, there's a lot of answers for this. I really don't want to make this like a super long video. So hopefully,
Brother, 35 minutes. What do you mean, like? Yeah, it seems like an old style webcam. Yeah. Like, dude, this is 35 minutes. What do you mean it's not gonna be that long?
I can distill it down
You
to
think most people can pay attention that long? You must be mistaken.
some main points and not really go off on too many tangents, although I think that I probably will, because there's a lot of like history with it and everything like that. And so basically the first thing you need to know about me is that I actually, if you can believe this, I know this might sound shocking, is that I actually have not always been like this. This is a relatively new thing for me. And I think that it really kind of started a lot when I would say in high school, and then later on it kind of entered phase 2, and that was probably...
How bad is phase 2? Also, what do you mean kind of recent? He's like 35? Or maybe close to 40? I don't know. But like, I don't think that's like, when do you get out of high school? Like 17, 18, 19, 20? Like, I don't know. I got out of high school at like 20? Around there.
Probably somewhere around 21 or 23, somewhere around there in those age groups. And that's whenever, the degeneracy really kind of went, it ratcheted up to the next level. I leveled up, new expansion release, DLC, etc., right? And so this happened then, because as a kid, I was actually very much like a very conscientious kid, in the way that I basically didn't really want to be perceived in a negative way. I wanted to be seen as a good person, etc. And I've always had a big problem with being able to like relate to other people, because I think that I'm just a little bit off, right? I wouldn't say that I don't have a moral compass, but
I kind of understand what he's saying, because like I've also always been the odd one out. Usually 17, 18 is normal in America. Okay, I kind of relate to that. I'm usually always the odd guy, and like not like in a weird way, just like I don't really fit into my generation.
I would say
I was raised like a not even like I was pretty much raised like the generation of my parents, like somewhere between like millennial and parents. I wasn't raised like a zoomer.
that my moral compass doesn't point north. And this has been a problem in a lot of cases in my life, whether it's with relationships or friendships or anything in between. I've had a lot of problems because of that. And in the process of this, I've learned a lot of things about myself. And the main thing is that my take and my view on moral issues is not really what I would say a normal person thinks. And this has caused me a lot of problems. And especially like as a young kid, you know, being able to like interact and fit in with people, it's a weird dichotomy because the truth is I actually always did have a lot of friends, and I never had problems making friends. But at the same time, I always felt like I was...
That's where we differ. I never really had any friends that much. Like people in school, sure, but like friends outside of school, not really. Not really. Not exactly. No.
very different from a lot of other people because of the way that I felt. I used to have, for a comparison, just a point of reference, I guess you could say, I used to have my mom read me all of the different like sins in the Bible and everything, because I understood even as a little kid. I'm like, there's something wrong with you. You know, like you better learn this so that way there aren't any problems in the future. And so I would have her read all of these to me. That way I would understand how to behave, right? Because it just never came naturally to me. Things that come naturally to other people were not natural and are not natural. It's not like things have changed. If anything, they've probably gotten worse. As I've gotten older. And so I've always had a big problem being able to like you know, understand like where, you know, how you should act, how you should treat people, what you should do, how you should say things, etc. So almost everything that I do is a learned performance rather than an innate social I don't know, like instinct, if that makes sense. And hopefully the performance is good. I consider myself kind of a good...
Get more friends outside of school? I didn't. I had no friends outside of school. Just in school. Just like meeting in school. Like the people that just talk in school, but never outside of school, basically.
Good actor, at least, right? But of course, there are going to be cracks and outtakes as well. And so those are usually in the form of the Twitter clips with 100,000 likes. And so...
But like, I would... It's difficult, like, to... It's basically just like struggling with your moral compass, basically. But I think a lot of people do that. I think that could also be due to the fact, from what it sounds like, there wasn't really any strong father figure there, which could obviously also be a result of that.
So anyway, as a kid, I was always treated this way, and you know, people thought that I was a little bit off, a little bit weird. Like one time, like for example, there was a kid that I was like playing with baseball with him, and he was annoying me, making me mad. And so I hit the ball, and I hit it with the explicit intention of hitting him in the face with the ball, and I did. And so
I guess that's like not anything weird. Like, working at a school, I see that all the time, where, like, even kids, like, go, like, in and rip somebody's earring off. Like, this is not anything, like, particularly, you know, out of the ordinary.
I remember there was blood all over the kid's face. He like broke his tooth and everything, and everybody was standing around like what the fuck? Like what? This is like terrible. And I remember walking up. This was like the best day of my fucking life. This happened, and I was so happy, and I could see...
Yeah, I've seen this a couple of times where people like do hurt, like kids do hurt other kids on purpose and like relish in that. I wouldn't say like that's... It's unusual, but not like crazy.
See that other people were made very uncomfortable around this, and that's whenever I started trying to like really kind of mask my emotions and how I felt about things, because it was very evident to me that I was not really normal. And this has been, again, a huge problem my whole life, but that was pretty much the first, at least the time that I can remember in my mind, the first time that I can remember that and see that, wow.
Sounds more like he wasn't really taught how to, like, handle his emotions. Maybe that's just me, but it kind of sounds like that.
This is this didn't go over the way that I thought it would go over because I was so happy and nobody else is happy and they think I'm like a bad person. But it's like, from my perspective, that's not how I saw it. And, from my perspective, rip bozo. So this is a big problem, and this happens in middle school as well. I cared a lot about like how I looked, how I dressed, etc. in middle school. I mean, really, who doesn't? And I really tried to like take myself seriously, and I tried to have a good impression, etc. Do the right things, say the right things, wear the right things, be the right kind of person. And going into high school, I kind of got there's a weird thing where like I ended up going to like one high school.
He doesn't know how to people, yeah. But again, it seems like he never had somebody who taught him how to like handle his emotions. Really just seems like that.
That I didn't want to go to, and then I ended up going to another high school after that, after I told my parents that if they didn't change me over, I would kill myself and fail every single class. Which, to be halfway, I was halfway,
What was that wording? What was that wording? You mean you'll fail your class because you're gone, not because yeah. Weird wording.
Halfway followed through with that because my first semester in that high school, I had a GPA of a .08. It was actually impressive. It was hard to do. I had to go out of my way for this. And so then I ended up getting transferred over, and I went to the school where my friends were. And I think that like the high school that I had originally gone to was a much more superficial, much more like like a higher class high school, because my dad wanted me to go there because like he wanted me to go to school to get an education. Imagine that. I wanted to go to school to hang out with my friends, so there was a bit of a disconnect there. And so I go over to the other school, and I realized that I need to stop caring about what people think about me, because I saw the people that were in that other school, and I realized that's not the kind of person that I wanted to be, because they were the more extreme version of the person that I was trying to be. And at that point, I realized that I didn't really want to be like other people, and I had to develop, I guess, my own identity. And this was at like, I would say 14 or 15. And that happened, and that continued all the way through high school. And, I was always like, I never really had a girlfriend, right, in high school or anything like that. Maybe, I talked to a girl, but not.
Now my relationship was over at that point. Yeah, it was over right before I entered high school. Yeah. At 18, shortly after turning 18. So yeah.
Not really, okay? And so I was never really treated very well by, a lot of girls or anything like that, and big surprise, imagine that.
I can relate to that. I can relate to that. I understand that. Yeah.
And so, anyway, this happened, and, I kind of got used to this, and it was normal, so I would try to improve myself and, like, make myself look better, and try to do this, and it would just be met with the same outcome, which was a massive failure. Big surprise. Being a level 60 warrior isn't as attractive to women as it is to other 16-year-old guys. And so anyway, I had this happen, and, I eventually kind of got to the point where I was more comfortable with that, and I stopped really caring as much about what, like, people would think about me, and, in general, just, like, people's perception of me. And this kind of got worse as time goes on, and I think that I spent, like, my teenage years primarily trying to disconnect myself and trying to remove myself from the obligation to be a certain kind of person to the public, and just to society in general. I viewed society as I never chose to be here. This was not up for discussion. I just spawned in here, and so it's like I have to follow these rules. I have to do all of these things. I have to be this kind of a person. And then, when I was like 17, 18, 19, I asked myself, well, why am I doing this? And so I stopped doing all of that stuff, and I've done many degenerate things, none of which I regret.
I don't know what to feel and what to say. It's really just like feels like, I don't know. Is it real? Like, I don't know. To me, it doesn't really like matter what others think. It's more like what what I think of myself, which is maybe also why I try so hard to fix everything and like get myself a better life than like my parents had or something. I don't know. I can't really emphasize with the thing like generally just like giving yourself up. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Nothing at all in my life that I've ever regretted at all. But you know, I would do things that a lot of people would consider to be
That we're different. I did a lot of things that were like I do feel like I did a lot of things wrong, and I regret a lot of things.
very improper. Let's just say that. And so I never really viewed myself. I never really viewed it as like a good or a bad thing. I just, you know, simply existed and I did what I would do. And that was it. And at that point, I pretty much had completely disconnected myself from the perception of other people. And this was at the same time, like growing up, my mom was, I think there was maybe 2 years or so where she made above the poverty level in terms of income. And so we basically barely skated by most of the time. And primarily the reason for that, honestly, is because my dad always paid child support, etc., at least until I was 18. And, you know, all that time, you know, she was able to skate by with that and pretty much.
It really maybe it's hard to say, but it really feels like Asmongold could have very much have used a dad being around. just saying, just saying.
Survive. After high school was over, then obviously like that stopped, and then she wasn't able to support herself, so I was having to figure out ways to make money and try to like piece together money. She would borrow money sometimes from my dad, and it was in general like a very, very negative situation, and so we never really had any money. This was the time where you know, I was pretty much ironically at the peak of my degeneracy. I was probably one of the highest rated warriors in WoW. At the time, it was great, but not necessarily in real life. And so at this point, I had pretty much completely disconnected myself from the way that people saw me. And I stopped caring about the way that people saw me because I pretty much gave up on being like a normal person. I gave up on being accepted by the public. I gave up on living a normal life or, you know, having a family or anything like that. I just felt like I just was.
That is not what I would call it. I think you think Tecton had another opinion about father figure. Yeah, I don't know. As far as I'm aware, he's fairly close to his dad. I could be wrong, but like I don't know. It's like this does not sound like giving up on what other people think of you. This is more like giving up on yourself. But again, I'm not the psychologist.
Not capable of that based off of my experiences that I had, and I had many other ones too.
It sounds similar to what I did. It sounds similar to what I did. It's not exactly similar because I stopped because it got before it got that bad, but it has similar vibes.
Like I stabbed somebody and a few other things too. I probably wouldn't even say because they would too drastically alter people's perception of me. But either way, you know, a lot of these instances where I kind of was like, okay, this is bad.
Can't be worse than the dude on Reddit that did the deed with a pigeon when he was 15.
Maybe
can't be that much worse.
I'm, you know, quarantined in my house. And so anyway, I did this a lot, and my mom and I, like, it was really just kind of the two of us. My dad was there, he was supportive, and he always has been supportive. But other than that, I do have family, but none of them live in the state of Texas. And so any trouble, any problems, anything like that, it was pretty much entirely on me to resolve this issue. And so take care of my mom, pay for things, anything like that. It was.
Could this also be due to him needing to be overly take care of his mother?
Was always on me, and her health started deteriorating at about the same time. this is big surprise. You smoke since you're 16. You spend your entire time smoking cigarettes, watching Ancient Aliens, and fucking around on the internet playing WoW, and you're overweight massively like she was. This isn't good for your health, especially when you're getting into your 60s, which she was at that time, because she had me when she was like 39 and a half or 40 or something. And so at this point, her health was deteriorating, and I remember like she had like a number of instances where like I would like wake up and I hear her like screaming because she would like I don't even really know what the fuck was wrong with her. I don't know. It was like a weird thing where like she couldn't see out of her eye, and then she had like some kind of like I think like a bleed in her eye, and then she had like I think it wasn't really a heart attack. It was like some sort of like variation of that. And I remember like her like begging me not to call the ambulance, and this is just like, and this is at the same time that the house is fucking, we can barely pay for the house.
I don't know. It's just like, it really seems like the combination of no dad around and needing to take care of a mother that was not able to take care of herself. It pretty much sounds like that.
House. We're worried about getting evicted from the house. We have no AC, or no, we did have AC. We didn't have heat, and so I would go to sleep, and like the house would be so cold because I would just give her the heater, and I always viewed it as like oh, I'm sleeping out on Mount Everest, right? It's like I'm cosplaying as Bear Grylls, and I remember like my glass of water in my room, there would have like ice crystals on the edge of it, right?
Jesus. That is cold. I mean, it gets cold in this house as well. There's rooms where there simply is no heating, but man. Ugh.
Because of how fucking cold it was. And so I did that really for like 2 years, and so we had like basically like zero money. And so this happened, and pretty much like her health would deteriorate more and more and more to the point where she couldn't drive, she couldn't do X, she couldn't do Y, she couldn't get a job anymore. And then it relied on me more and more to completely support her in like pretty much all ways. And so, and I remember she would like beg, like she was like on the ground like crying, begging me not to call an ambulance. And so this was very upsetting for me, by the way. Like I got to the point where like at this time period I would wake up like every 2 hours or so with like a weird thing where I would hear her screaming my name, and this went on for maybe like 6 months to a year. And also I want to say that like all of this stuff,
that's really cool, yeah.
I don't really like, everybody in life has problems, and I hope that by sharing my problems people can kind of see where I'm coming from as a person. I don't really care about sympathy. I don't care about people feeling bad for me. I don't really give a fuck. It doesn't matter to me. So I hope that nobody thinks that this is coming off as any form of a, like sympathy play. I've had things bad happen in my life. I think that in many cases they've been my fault. I've deserved them. But this is just what's happened. And so anyway, and every action and every outcome in my life leading up to now has led me to the position that I am right now. And I think that in a lot of cases, I'm happy with how I am.
I don't know. Are you really happy, or have you yourself conditioned yourself to be happy? Because you're kind of in a position where you could change everything around for yourself. Not like for others, because like nobody that like cares around, like really like is like super close to you. Like I don't know. I struggle with the reasoning.
And you can't just go back and edit out all the bad parts and expect to be in the good part. And so at the same time this was happening, like a lot of my friends were obviously going through college, finishing college, having girlfriends, like moving in and everything. And I was worried about, number one, my mom dying. Number two, being homeless. And number three, at that point, I had always assumed that I would kill myself after high school. Like that was my plan. And, Wrath of the Lich King came out and I just got distracted. I forgot. And so
So, bro, you're basically saying that World of Warcraft saved your life. That's kind of wild, but I can understand. I can empathize with that. what I like about Asmund is that he holds his moral ground high with world changing rapidly. He firmly believes in his moral value and dismisses new idea or propaganda like woke stuff. Yeah, that's true. Although there's some issues with this moral value, but most of it is positive, like self-preservation, eating healthy foods, cleaning and being clean, like taking shower. Does he really eat healthy? I don't know. I don't follow Asmongold too much. I see occasional clips. I see some videos here and there, but like I don't know. Like maybe he goes into that.
Ended up not doing that. And because of that, I never brushed my teeth in high school. Never really gave a fuck about it. Never cared. And this caused. Guess what that causes? It causes your teeth.
I am a firm believer of taking care of your teeth. I am terrified of the dentist. Call me a pussy. I don't care. I am terrified of the dentist. That man is scary. Leave my teeth alone.
Rot out. And so a lot of my teeth had to be, you know, I had to get fillings and everything as a teenager. And my dad paid for a lot of it, which he was very, very unhappy about. And so these fillings would come out. This is what happens with fillings or anything like that. And they did come out, and then, of course, my teeth deteriorated naturally because I love soda. I love drinking soda. I've got a soda right over there. Went to McDonald's earlier today. Really, really like soda. Like it so much that right now I only have 5 real teeth left in my whole mouth. And I think you start with like 32, which is kind of crazy to think. And so, anyway, this happened. And all my
This does not sound like self-preservation.
starting to rot out. I was not able to eat with one side of my mouth. I would have these toothaches that would get so bad that I would pass out from the pain. And I eventually had to go to like the like basically if you're like the people.
Oh, okay. Understand. Understand.
People that really
I already thought like, that's weird.
Medical bills are the people that are in the middle of like you know, economically, because if you're broke, like they'll do shit for you for like $10. If they can get anything, they'll do it. And so I had a program like that, and so they would have to pull out my teeth kind of regularly, and that's how I lost. I have no back teeth at all. That's why if you look at my jawline, it's very different than if you look at it from like, you know, high school or like by the age of like 19 or 20. It's completely changed because I've lost all of my teeth and my jaw bone is like pretty much rotted out. And so, which as far as I know is unfixable, at least in the way that I have this problem. There's a separate problem that is fixable. I don't have that one. I talked to a dentist about it.
Didn't that hurt? I don't know, but if I've started losing like teeth and like simply from the pain, I would have started to take care of my teeth more. I don't know, kind of weird.
So it's basically like irreversibly fucked. And so anyway, this happened, and it was not a great time. My teeth were rotting out, etc. And at that point, I had to completely, like, pretty much give up the notion and give up the dream of ever being a normal person.
No, I mean like the at least like the pain stuff is kind of crazy. I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. Imagine that breath though. Imagine that breath. That breath could have probably, like, man, his breath could have wiped out entire civilizations. Entire civilizations.
At that point, I could feel myself no longer being the same as anybody else, right? And I actually, for a while, I really hated it, but then I got used to it, and then I embraced it, and I think that's where I am now. So I would say, like, that was from like ages, like, I would say, you know, 13 to, I don't know, like 21, somewhere around there, right? Then after that, I started doing other stuff. I was playing WoW. I was making videos.
Hello, Marek. How are you doing? Yeah, toxic breath. Literally, just like breathing on people, and like they literally like evaporate.
Videos. Was doing other random things, right? And my mom's like health pretty much would always get worse, and that's just, you know, that's just the way it is when you get older, right? And so I would have to do my best to like take care of her, and worked at the IRS for a while, tried to work at Sam's Club, didn't really go very well. But overall, I, you know, tried to go back to college. I do have a college degree, if you can imagine that. But learned more from business, from WoW.
That's wild. I did not expect that. I did not expect that Asmongold would have had a college degree. That's kind of wild.
Than I did from business school. And so then I spent that time, and then this was all the time, like, you know, me not knowing if she would, you know, every day I would wake up and, like, you know, hear that voice in my mind, and, like, you know, it was really, really bad. And this is just something I would do all the time, and I try to always make the best out of things. I try to just, you know, not think about it. But, you know, looking back on it, things were very, very bad. And so anyway, you know, fast forward a little bit later, and that's whenever I was like going back to college. I thought that I would just, you know, basically have a shitty job, play video games for my whole life, and then die, right? And then I got a shitty job, and I realized a shitty job is actually a lot more shitty than I thought it would be. So then I remember it was probably like one of the best things that ever happened.
It's like it really just is it was the result of a dude just like giving himself up. This could have been me like 5 years ago. like if this could have been me 3 years ago, pretty much. Yeah, that could have been like me 3 years ago. Eventually, like in the future, this could have evolved in that way. The hard thing about Asmund is he dismisses other advices about him, both positive and the negative. Like Techie used to advise Asmund to take care of himself more. Yeah, it didn't work out. Yeah, I can assume that. Considering that he is continuing the way he does.
To me is that I took this job at Sam's Club, and I hated it so much it actually encouraged me to make myself a better person, if you can imagine that. And so I signed up to go back to university and finish another degree that I was working on so I could go to law school. Actually, I wanted to be a lawyer, basically because I had a friend in high school. We would always play Magic the Gathering, and I could see him. He would always manipulate the rules to come out ahead and win different, like, arguments in Magic the Gathering. And I was like, I bet lawyers do that in real life. I should do that myself. And so that was always my motivation. And anyway, I did that, and then, you know, a number of other things, you know, random things that are not, you know, I would say like YouTube or public safe that I did. And then after that, I started doing YouTube, and then I started doing YouTube, and I focused on that. And I would put videos out of the way that I lived, etc. And people would always find it to be very funny or like weird, and everybody would like really like. There were a lot of people, and this is true even now, people that like hate me for living the way that I do. And I think that really, you know, people look at a person like me and they see a person who has a number of things in their life that they wish they had, but I've done basically. You know, if you look at it from like, what do they tell you to do when you're growing up? You know,
To be honest, I just think it's sad, in a way. It's just sad. There's not much to add to this. It's just sad.
Used every single thing to do as a checklist of what not to do, right? And so, you know, I think that a lot of people could be a little bit, you know, annoyed by that. And so I can see why, and etc. And it is disgusting, by the way. And so, you know, missing half your teeth and, you know, living in a dump with a dead rat alarm clock. You don't know if your mom's going to be alive that day. You've got no money. You have to support her. She's never going to be able to support herself. And things are just basically slowly getting worse and worse and worse. And I started doing YouTube, and things started doing a little bit better. I started doing streaming. Things were doing better then. I went to get my teeth fixed, because if you look at my old videos, a lot of my old videos, you'd notice that I smile. You know, when I smile, I cover my mouth when I smile. The reason for that is this isn't Saikuno, where I don't like my smile. Yeah, well, I don't like my smile. It's not because I think it's ugly. It's because I didn't have any fucking teeth. And I didn't want people to see that. And so, that's...
Ah, so, interesting. So, everything else wasn't a problem, what people thought, but him smiling and not having teeth, well, then other people seeing that was a problem. That's interesting. So, at that time, he still cared enough to cover his mouth when smiling. Okay. He gave himself up on being a human, and and on the way he gained everything, but will lose something slowly deteriorating. It's like kind of sad because like technically he could fix himself and like show how when you are at that point how you can turn it around, but for some like not really explainable reason. Like I have not heard like any reason up until this point. I've heard reasons why he is like that, but I haven't really heard like any good reasons as to why he should continue like that with like having everything he has.
That's why I would cover my mouth a lot whenever I first started streaming. And so this happened to me for a long time. I go to the dentist, and they tell me it's going to be like around $50,000 to get all my teeth fixed and everything.
Oh. It reminds me of the meme like UK you have to wait ages. United States you have to pay a lot. And for Canada healthcare, have you considered dying?
Everything taken care of. Then I thought,
wow.
Maybe because it was the first time at that point where I kind of like it really hit me that I had like irreversibly and irreparably damaged my life in a way that I couldn't just immediately like undo. Because like as a kid, you know, usually you make a mistake where it's like you scrape your knee and then
his mentality and his ego getting in the way. I wish he could change his way so he can be better. Yeah. It's like, don't do it for others. Just do it for yourself. Cause like you like at the time when he fixed his teeth, he didn't like the way he looked. He hates drinking water. Well, on that note, I love water. It has to also be really good water, though.
Well, you put a bandage on, it gets better. But with this, it never was going to get better, and it's only going to get worse, and it certainly has, by the way. And so, anyway, I did want to kill myself, but I decided instead of killing myself, I'd do something even worse. I'd start streaming. And I started...
Okay, that came unexpected. That was unexpected. I did not expect that. uh, okay.
Streaming because I wasn't really making enough money, and everybody says, "Oh, well, I started streaming because you know I like interacting."
I know somebody who a content creator here in Germany who only drank soda for like ever, for like barely water, and he then what is it called? He had a seizure, and now that he's decided to change it around, like lose weight, drink more water and no more soda and stuff. List of things he hates regarding the basic things: plain water, fruit except lemon and or lime juice, and vegetables. I mean, that's not too terrible. I guess carnivore diet it is.
With people, it's because I was lonely. Well, I started streaming for money. I needed some fucking money, and so that's what I did. And I was like, guys, we've got a donation goal of $100, and you know, if we get $100, I'm gonna go to Wendy's tomorrow. And I would always meme it up, you know, $1 equals one donut, and it's like,
me personally, the reason why I started like making content is because I saw others, like the big YouTubers, do it. And I wanted to do it as well. I live from that. But at this point, it has become an obsession and passion. It is absolutely crazy. I put myself to at the absolute limits right now of like doing content and stuff. It is absolutely insane how that has evolved. I guess we started from the same point, but I drifted into a different direction.
I would make a bunch
That's
of money, and
interesting
it
to
was
know.
great. And things actually did go very well. I streamed every single night. I was very dedicated. I tried to make things as entertaining as possible, and you know, I did what I tried to do best, right? And things kind of got better and they improved. This happened just at pretty much the same time. A lot of my friends were kind of evolving and going past, like college, like they were getting careers, getting married, having kids. And like now, I'm pretty sure I'm thinking to myself.
Thanks, Marek. I'm working really hard. I'm doing what I can. Though I have certainly made a lot of mistakes. One of the worst things you can make when starting out is change your content and name too often. Rebranding too often will fuck your ass. YouTube will shove the algorithm up your butt. It is insane. And cleaning his room, brushing his teeth, and showering. It's like, I don't know. It's there's no good reasoning why he does it the way he does it.
I'm pretty sure every single friend that I have is either married or has a kid, which is kind of
Same. I understand. At this point, like, yeah. For me, it is right now the same. Like, every friend I have, in quotes, they don't really have any time for me anymore. Because either kids or, like, married. Like, all my friends are married. All of them. And some of them have kids, so they don't really have time for me. So I just sit here, do my content, and do my thing, and, like, occasionally talk.
crazy considering that I'm sitting here doing what I'm doing, but it is kind of weird. I'm 34 now, which is honestly a fucking shock. Like I can't believe it. I don't feel 34. I feel like I'm still 16. But I look in the mirror, I see my hairline, and I think to myself, oh my god, wait a minute, I think I'm actually 34. And if I'm really not sure, I talk to somebody who's 16, and then I realize, hold up, wait a minute, no, actually I am 34. Because there's no better way to realize that you're actually older until you talk to somebody who's actually younger. At least it is for me. So anyway, my stream was doing very well. My social...
Why aren't you married yet? Yeah. You Asians, yeah. When it comes to that, kind of wild. But like for me, it's like quite the opposite. Like my big brother has a girlfriend, but she absolutely sucks. Horrible human. My other sister is like, it's Jover, bro. Yeah, my other sister also has a boyfriend. My younger brother has nobody, and I I'm a hopeless romantic, so it is over for me. Yeah.
Social life really, I pretty much like stopped interacting with a lot of friends of mine because I focused pretty much just on streaming and on making this as much as possible. And also, I'm a very introverted person in a lot of ways. I like being alone. I don't like people talking to me a whole lot. I don't like phone calls. I don't like interacting with people. I don't like going out.
For me as an introvert, I do have an extrovert mode. I can switch to being an extrovert for a couple of hours, but my god, do I need some alone time after that to recharge my battery? Because, yeah, being that social is, how do I put this? Exhausting. It's like a battery, and like the more I like interact with people, the more empty it'll become. Now, funnily enough, I don't really have that for streaming, which is like weird. It is.
You guys might notice this, right? If it's a mystery or secret, and so big surprise. That's how it was. And then I started streaming. My stream started doing better, and there was a degree of like stress that created. But and in terms of like my lifestyle and everything, living that way, I never really thought about it at that point. I never really worried too much about like kind of how people would perceive me. I always viewed myself as like, this is just who I am. This is what I am. That's all there is to it. And I never really took, and I still don't really take any criticism or any negativity to heart. I don't take it personally. I don't really care a whole lot. And so at the end of the day, it never really bothered me, and people thought it was funny. And so, I had like these a snack box, and there were like maggots in the snack box, and I would eat the food with the maggots inside of the food. It was like,
ugh, ew. Okay, that's just a little bit disgusting, just a little bit. The time will come. I don't know about that. I have limited options. I have very limited options because I'm the kind of breed that waits until marriage. So the shit is limited. I am limited edition, and the women are also limited edition. The women that I can date. So it is difficult. I can tell you that much. Here in Germany, whoo. Your godmother always asks me when you asks you if you have a girlfriend, and you awkwardly say you tell her no, you are no longer interested in relationships. Yeah, for me it's like I am interested in relationships. I do want to like have a wife, have children. Yeah, it is just overly difficult with the hand that with what I'm given with. Hey, it's maggots. We call it free protein here. Yeah, it's just ew.
honey buns, which were really, really good. And to be honest, I didn't even really taste them. So it was pretty much the
Bro, just ugh. Blah, that is mad disgusting.
same thing. Didn't even bother me. And so, I had like taken at that point, my teeth had like totally rotten out. And so I had taken pliers to like break
Whoever created the genre of NTR, I will find him and I will create a time-traveling morning after pill. This man will disappear. That triggers something in me as somebody who has been cheated on. That triggers something in me.
pieces of my teeth off, even like if I wasn't able to speak during a stream because like a point was like poking my tongue, or like playing a game or something like that, talking to people. And so I still have the pliers actually in my bathroom from all the way back then.
The maggot breath, just the maggot breath.
And so this had happened for quite a while, and then I guess you could say I started like the second phase of my life of like trying to remove myself from like caring about being worried about the outcome of other people. It was always very scary for me to know that my mom would die one day, right? This was extremely scary. This was like the one thing that I didn't want to have happen. And in 2021, it did happen. And so leading up to that was incredibly stressful. She pretty much did everything that she possibly could. I love her, but she did every fucking thing that she could to make things as absolutely unpleasant as possible. Oh my God. And so, yes. It was very frustrating to deal with somebody like that. But, she was 70 at the time. And so it really hurt. And it's like she was the main person in my life that I was like most connected to, and this is the person that I had like the deepest emotional connection with, and to just lose them. And it was kind of random, by the way. Like things got worse over time, but the very end there, it just kind of went off a fucking cliff. And so this happened, and then at about the same time, a little bit after that, I also broke up with a long-term girlfriend at the time. And then at the same time, my dad got so...
How did she survive? How did she put up with that? That must have been like... That probably was the one, I have to admit.
So fucking sick that we were like talking about writing his will, like, and he's still setting all that up because he doesn't know if this shit's gonna happen again, right? What's gonna be? And he's 77 too, so it's rough, right? It's bad. And he went through pneumonia 4 fucking times in a year. And so, and he's still getting around, going to the store, etc. But I got to help him every once in a while too, right? And it is what it is. And so again, and we don't have any family around here, and so if something goes wrong, if something's bad, there's one person who's responsible for that, and that's me. And so that's a lot of stress. It's a lot of pressure, right? And I had all 3 of these things happen to me within pretty much 1 year of each other, maybe 2 years with the thing with my dad. And so at that point, I began the second part of, I think that, like, my,
You're getting Thanos snap.
abstraction of reality is
I'm
that
just
I've tried
joking,
my
but
best
yeah,
to
I would
remove
prohibit
myself
it.
from caring about other people as much as I can, and not caring about them in terms of, like, being friendly. Of course I'm friendly with people, but being emotionally attached to having them in my life, being emotionally attached to the way that they feel about me and how they're doing. It's been very hard for me to actually have any sort of feelings towards people when it seems like everybody that was important to me is fucking dying. And so or leaving me, right? Or breaking up with me. So at a certain point, you just kind of get away from that. And then after that, we entered into, I would say, the third phase, which is the point where
There's a third phase. There's a third phase. Ugh. For you, one is enough. For me, also, one is enough. But I'm even stricter than that.
Lose the connection with myself. And I think that whenever I finally do that, I think that maybe one day I might be happy again. And what I mean by that is that I always worry about, like, dying and, all this stuff and, like, how I'm, like, where do you go? What happens, right? And it would be very, very stressful for me. And I usually reassure myself by reminding myself that I'm just a hyper-intelligent monkey that probably evolved too fast. And I think that we all are, by the way. It's not like I'm special. And
Bro making faces better than Marvel did. True. Poofs out of existence. Again. With proximity chat. What is it? Lethal Company style.
That usually is oddly reassuring. But otherwise, it was very stressful for me, and I did think that I was farther along. I thought I would be okay with dying until I thought that I was dying, and then I realized that I wasn't as far along as I thought I was. Recently, whenever I had a blood pressure reading of 194, which is a high score.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
So far. At least so far. And so things have been improving since then, by the way. But anyway, this has been, my life, and I stopped really.
So he is at least afraid of dying. I wonder if that's gonna be like a situation where something happens, something bad enough happens that he needs to turn things around. I wonder if that's gonna happen.
Caring about anything. I stopped caring about what happens to me. I stopped caring about what happens to other people. I stopped caring about what people think about me.
It's literal Scarlet Rot. Ooh. It's like, I've seen the sink, and I'll be real, I just want to meet up at Asmongold's house just to fix the sink. I don't care about anything else, but the sink, I want to fix the sink.
And I felt that the more that I have, the more that I've cared about things, the more unhappy I've been as a person. And I think that this is true on, like, a base level. Is this some sort of pathological problem for me? I think it probably is. But at the end of the day, this is the best way that I know to cope with it, right? And so, for me, the way that I live and everything is a manifestation of that. It's always been this way for me. My mom, like, growing up, things were pretty messy, etc. But then, even now, things are worse than they ever have been in terms of, like, being messy. But, I never really think about it or worry about it because I'm just never really...
Yeah, and people make content out of his, like, place being messy with, like, animations and stuff. I saw that animation. That was great. And so disgusting.
It doesn't even cross my mind. I'm thinking about things that I want to think about. I'm doing things that I want to do. And I never think about what other people think about me. I don't think about how it affects other people. I don't think about how they feel or anything like that. And it might sound like a bad thing, but it's made me a happier and more fulfilled person, not worrying about anybody else, really, other than myself, unless I have to. And it's been very, like...
Would you really call this, like, caring about yourself? Because, like, you're not really... I don't know. I wouldn't really call it that.
Weird for me.
I would call it doing the bare minimum to survive. More or less.
Getting older, especially, and you know, like having like priorities change in your life, and you know, having different things happen to you. And so I wanted to make this video and kind of like explain like kind of how I got to be this way, and hopefully a little bit of this can like explain, why do I behave this way? Why am I like this? Why do I have no shame with things, right? It's because I've lived a life where I've tried desperately to hold on to any degree of dignity that I've had, and anything that I've had, and it's just slowly been taken away from me. Whether it's myself, pieces of myself, other people, or the way that the world sees me.
But why not reclaim your dignity? You're 34. It is not too late. It is not too late whatsoever. We call those individualism, yeah, and it's made society in general miserable. But yeah, it's like it is not too late to return, dude. You're still fairly young. Like it is not too late. Sure, like the teeth thing cannot be fixed, obviously. I guess, but yeah, you have the main, like, you are capable of like fixing this. So it's like kind of like, I don't know. There's really no good reasoning as to why he shouldn't change it.
I think that the more that I've kind of just, you know, let things flow freely and not care about it, the more happy and content that I've been. And so it's an ongoing process, and began whenever I said, you know, I guess I said I was like 13, and you know, I guess the last thing for me to do is really to let go of myself and, you know, just finally be content with my own existence for the time that I exist. And I'm not really a religious person. I'm not a spiritual person either. I don't believe there's any light at the end of the tunnel. I definitely don't think so. And I just try to make the best of being in the tunnel. And so that's why I live the way that I do. That's why I do the things that I do. That's why I say the things that I do. That's why a lot of criticism and things like this, of course I don't like it. Of course I don't like it. But it doesn't really emotionally affect me in the same way that I think it does.
Exactly. It's like, I don't know, he just like, one day he'll just die in his room, and like, nobody will, at worst, nobody will like find him for a few weeks at worst. So it's kind of like, I don't know.
For other people, and it used to affect me a lot more, but I've you know gotten a little bit better, at least, at dealing with it. And so hopefully this can answer some questions and kind of give people a little bit more insight into my life and the kind of person I am. And that's pretty much about it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I have to cover. 30-minute video. Actually, I was expecting it to be longer. So, you know, that's my life story. That's what's happened to me in general, and that's why I am the way I am.
Regret will come to you when it's already too late. Yeah, that's the usual thing with like everything. that is usually just the case. Maybe I'm just so different because I have realized it before it's too late, that I don't want to end up like that. I don't know. It's like, I don't know.
And will I ever change? Maybe, maybe not, right? I mean, I honestly, like, you know, making a lot of money on Twitch, and, you know, like, the notoriety and everything, like, people recognize you. I mean,
yeah, at this point, he has kind of reached the point where he's like the man that cannot be named on Twitter. It is kind of funny how that has evolved.
I mean, I guess it's nice, right? And I mean, sometimes it's I mean, having money is way better than not having money. But
yeah,
in terms of, like, you know, having a lot of wealth, I live in my same house. I use my same desk. I, you know, for a very long time drove my same car. I eat in the same places. I do the same things. I really haven't changed at all, honestly, ever since I was like younger, ever since my stream got popular. And maybe one day I will, maybe one day I won't. At the end of the day, I think that one thing that I've always really kind of focused on and thought about a lot is that I have complete and absolute agency over my own life. I can do anything that I want to do, and I can not do anything that I don't want to do. And
That's called taking matters into consideration. Using intelligence and examples, you can derive the outcome. If you do something sketchy, yeah, yeah.
I think that's been a very comforting fact. And so people ask me, like, are you ever going to do this? It's not something I'm really thinking about changing right now. But in the future, I might change my mind. I just don't know yet. And so I just try to live life and enjoy it and, be able to experience things for the way that they're meant to be experienced. And really, I don't care a whole lot about that even either. I don't care about, going out or having certain life experiences or, oh, you'll regret this. Well, who cares if you regret this when you're old? You're about to die anyway. It doesn't even matter. And so I've never really felt that way. It's just it's not in me. And so that's really my whole life. And that's why I live the way that I live. It's why I do things the way that I do things. And, maybe one day it'll change. Maybe one day it won't. Who the fuck knows? Tune in next time to find out.
I don't know.
So anyway, guys, hopefully this is a little bit more informative, etc. And shit, I got an early end for the day. We had to record something early, so I came home. I figured I'd record this, and it's only 6 p.m., and so I don't know what the hell to do with myself now. I'm not streaming. I'm going to go walk around my house like an NPC.
Yeah, but that's basically the end of the video. There's nothing meaningful there. I can do everything I want to, but you can't live forever just yet, even if you want to. True. It's like, I don't know. I don't really understand. I guess I understand at least kind of where that originated. Like I said, probably due to not having an actual like strong father figure in like your most important years, needing to always take care of your sick mother, not having the time to like develop yourself, and like always being like on the edge of like losing everything basically. It's like I understand like how like he got there. I just don't understand why he wants to continue. And I wonder if that's gonna change when it just gets bad enough to the point where he might experience a near-death situation. I wonder if that's gonna happen. Because a lot of people that lived like this had a near-death experience and then realized that, oh shit, I might actually die. So, I don't know. It's difficult to say how this was gonna evolve. It is just sad that he continues this way. In general, I would say. Yeah, only time will tell.